Welcome everyone to Top Dog Season 2, Week 1. I'm Slicer here with my prehistoric buddy, Danny Soar. Danny Soar, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, you may remember me from the Christmas Cash Tournament. So excited to be here, cannot contain myself. I've been looking forward to this for months. So, Slicer, I'm ready to see some games, see some things, commentate a little bit. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
Yep, and I'm returning from a little bit of a medical hiatus. Having some problems with my chest, but no big deal. Everything's perfectly fine. No one needs to freak out anymore because I'm kind of tired of it.
Yeah, and let me tell you what, you better watch yourself tonight because if we have some heart-pounding games, you never know. I hope you're okay. I hope you
might
make
have
it
a heart
through.
attack right on the scene. Tonight we have IvD, our Season 1 champion, I believe, versus a newcomer to Top Dog, 440 Gaming. I have the list right here for who will be playing who. Or I don't. But we will get to see our former champion play at least. So, that's always nice.
Oh, yes, absolutely. During the Christmas Cash Tournament, we had a lot of teams come out. A lot of good ones. We saw some absolutely mind-blowing games. Some of the best games I've definitely ever commentated happened. I think one of our first ones was a really epic TVT. That tournament was full of great stuff, and I expect much the same here for this tournament as well.
Oh, I expected too. I remember in last season, IVD's Apocalypse actually managed to kill a Zerg player with just one Reaper. Essentially. Like, he just kept it alive through the whole time, and it just kept killing drone after drone after drone, and it was just absolutely disgusting, the control Apocalypse has.
During the Christmas Cash Tournament, we actually saw one Reaper get killed by two probes.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Two probes wedged it somehow at sort of a Y angle with a gas geyser, and the Reaper got completely stuck and died, which was awesome for the Protoss player. Not so awesome. One of those things that will make you rage very hard, but it was fun to watch.
Oh, that'd be it. That's got to be the worst feeling in the world. Is you're Terran, you got this Reaper, you're getting all the scouting information you want, and then two probes just capture it. Welcome everyone to Top Dog Season 2, Week 1.
It is a sad, sad day when that happens.
Oh, I made a little goof. Sorry about that, everybody. But while we wait for the game, how about we enjoy one of Carbot's newer videos? This is episode 22, I believe. And once again, thank them for allowing us to use a few of their videos for our cast. So everybody enjoy. Alright, and we're back. We're just now getting the players in the game, and we'll be starting shortly. It looks like 440 is sending out, how do you say the name? Railathon?
Sure, that sounds fantastic.
Sure. Or Zode, I'm not exactly sure which is the manager and which is the player, but
Yeah, they actually have three people in the game right now, so unsure which one it's going to be.
but while we get this straightened out, why don't you just gaze on our pretty faces while we play a little bit of music for you guys? And at special request.
From the coast of West Fall to Black Melody, silent I hunt you, silent I will creep, gliding through the depths, gliding to your death. Love on the shores I rise, hold my flippers to the sky. I am more than a fish. I am more than a man. Death will rise from the tide. I am Murloc. I am king of the sea. But I'm not Aquaman. Death will rise. Hear our cry. I am Murloc. Hunter of the tide, lie, will let your life born, you fallen brave, sleep in our sunken grave. Feel the deadly pin, my nets drag you in, blood-stained sand and gore, law that's left upon the shore. I am more than a fish. I am more than a man. Death will rise from the tide. Oh yeah, I am Murloc. I am king of the sea. But I'm not Aquaman. Death will rise. Hear our cry. I am Murloc. Yeah. Empty eyes, never blinking, armored and scaled, but never sinking. Puzzle jumper, the coaster runner, call me the tide hunter. Raise your flippers to the sky. I am more than a fish. I am more than a man. Death will rise from the tide. I am Murloc. I am king of the sea. Not a queen like Aquaman. Death will rise. Hear our cry. I am Murloc. I am death.
Alright, that was level 70 Elite Tauren Chieftain with I Am Murloc. It was a special request for tonight, but we finally got our players in the game. One's just waiting for a little bit of a time. We should be ready in a couple minutes. Danny Sor, we got a ZVZ coming up. How do you feel about that?
ZVZs are one of those things where you're never quite sure what you're going to get. Occasionally, you have Ling v Ling slapping fests at the beginning. On occasion, they just kind of stay back. Sometimes Baneling gets involved. Other times it evolves into Muta v Muta, into these giant clumps of units where you really don't know what's happening. So I'm not sure. It can go a lot of different ways.
Oh, the Ling v Ling Slap Fest is always the most exciting. All those speedlings just running around in circles, doing absolutely nothing to each other, and just basically scouting until, like, a random Baneling decides to explode. But it looks like both of our players are ready, and we are starting the game. All right. Now, for those of you watching, Zing is going to be the player for IvD. We will switch over to the normal layout right now so everyone may see. As you see, the IvD player is a Grandmaster player, and Railthon, a Masters player. Do you think that's going to make much difference, or do you think they're going to be close enough to where it's going to be a really good game?
It'll always be a good game. Those GMs are typically, just top 200, but Masters, there's a good amount of them as well. So I'll let you go ahead and get us started. Kick us off with the season slicer. Introduce
All
those
right.
players.
In the bottom right-hand corner of Daedalus Point, we have IVD's Zing as the blue Zerg player. And in the top left-hand corner, the orange Zerg player coming from 440, Railthon.
I was waiting on bated breath. I was hoping maybe we'd start with something like a six spool, but no such luck. We'll see no cheese to enter this game, at least not yet.
Daedalus Point, one of the new maps for this season of StarCraft. I actually have not become very familiar with it, but it looks like a very easy natural to take. The ramp is extremely large, so it would be very hard to wall off. You need like 4 or 5 Evo chambers coming from there. And it looks like Railthorn's going for a quick scout.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to head across, see what he can figure out. One thing to note is that the natural on this map is very, very wide. So you can actually get some, those big, large-scale engagements going on there, depending on how the units kind of stack up with each other. So it should prove to give us some good action. And Railthon heading in, trying to make sure there's nothing goofy going on here. And Zing has no such plans, as it looks like he's heading down just to take his natural.
And it looks like Railthorn's going to try and block it a little bit. He actually did get the first hit off on that drone, so if Zing tries to fight, he's going to lose that drone. But it looks like he may just go back and build a spawning pool and and extractor.
Yeah, and it looks like his plans were thwarted somewhat as he spends all that money that he was going to. I thought he'd send down 2 drones. Meanwhile, Railthon just got his up A-OK. So we'll have to see. And an Evo chamber block. Nice little saucy maneuver there.
This is something I haven't seen in months. An Evo chamber rush. We might see a spawning pool come down from Railthorn, or he may just cancel it. But the point of this evolution chamber is just to get those broodlings, just to kill as many drones as possible for that 75 cheap minerals of the evolution chamber. But that's if it gets killed, he didn't build it off the creep, and it's pretty much just using it trying to block the gas, but it's only going to slow him down a little bit, and we're just going to call him Triple Z because I don't want to say Zing all game. That's going to be a little rough.
Zing. And I'll have to see exactly what the income loss tab is, as both of them now have the same number of drones and gas. Let me figure that out real quick. It looks like it reduces you from about 128 to 112, so not a huge gap, but if you multiply that by the number of minutes that this thing may be alive, it can actually, deter quite a bit. And 75 minerals isn't a bad trade if you were going to, possibly lose that drone or have to send it all the way home. Not a bad investment, as now this queen will slowly start whittling it down.
Triple Z actually building a second second extractor just to keep on par with the gas intake from Railthorn. And, well, once this queen takes out this evolution chamber, we're going to see a couple drones die. It's going to more than pay for itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on how some of the micro and situations work, we'll have to see. We'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, both players otherwise just kind of macroing up. It looks like Triple Z, Zing, is just a little bit ahead on speed and now throwing down a Baneling nest. So he may look to get a little bit aggressive, knowing that maybe he's just a touch ahead, and actually throws down a Spine Crawler at the natural. May be feeling just a little bit uneasy.
Triple Z is probably expecting a lot of circling pressure, seeing as how Railthon actually wasted a drone for that. Railthon's going to be a little bit behind in minerals, a little bit more ahead in gas. They're about the same, and with the speed done for Triple Z, he sees Railthorn's aggression. Of course, the Overlord would have spotted it anyway.
Yeah, but he does have 20 lings compared to just 6. Now that Baneling nest can be very key. It looks like he's morphing in 4 Banelings, trying to figure out where all of them are at. But meanwhile, Speed's going to finish here momentarily, and Railthon could do some damage here.
Well, we got 2 Banelings in the natural mineral line, and oh, the Baneling comes out just in time to nail almost half of these Zerglings, and whatever forces Triple Z has left should be enough to clean this up.
Yeah,
If
those
anything.
were money timed just in the nick of time, able to take out just about everything, and that was no longer a problem as the Broodlings are going to come out here. We'll see what happens with them. Oh, and they're all going to go after the Spine Crawler.
Railthorn not controlling him to the best of his ability. He's just letting him attack the Spine Crawler. That Spine Crawler is going to come into use with any run bias happening later on, but we see Triple Z going for a little bit of an aggressive stance. And the Banelings aren't out for Railthorn yet. They're just morphing.
Yep, and if only 2 of them in there, he does cancel one, losing just a little bit, and see if they can get a cheap drone, but no such luck. And it looks like Zerg Zing Zing might be trying to wall off a little bit in his natural overtime. Oh, as we see, Baneling coming in, almost connecting.
That wasn't really too worth it. These drones are going to heal up now. He seems to have only gotten 1 worker. And that was the wrong tab. Let's see here. Units lost. I can't believe I can't remember it. I feel so silly.
Yeah,
There
Railthon
we
has
are.
lost
3.
3 drones, so no big deal, but he's going to continue to put on a little bit of pressure here.
Railthorn trying to do a little bit of a run by, and there's no defensive Banelings. Triple Z wasted all his Banelings on that little attack to only get 1 worker.
Yeah, luckily he's got a Spine Crawler in both, so no big deal here as he's able to take that out. So we're seeing a little bit of a slapping fest as Railthon says, all right, enough of this. I'm going to go ahead, add on my layer as it's about halfway done, and a 3rd base. And Triple Z doing the same thing, so he's going to add that on as well.
Railthorn going for the ranged upgrade for Zerg and throws down a Roach War, and we might see a Hydra Den just as this layer finishes.
Triple Z is trying to get in a little bit of an attack here. Oh, it seems like the Baneling is largely whiffed, and he's actually got a good amount of an advantage for Lings here as he's trying to pick off the Banelings on the left side. Oh, and that was a pretty decent Baneling hit, and more at the top of the ramp will clean up everything.
That was a nice play, but Railthorn did lose 1 queen and does not have a 3rd base on the way, while Triple Z has a 3rd base on the way and both queens still up. Railthorn's production is going to be hurt for a little bit, and it should give Triple Z enough time to get his own Roach Warren up, and he's going double Evo Chamber, which is probably the smart option.
And Railthon is going to strike back at the other 3rd. And meanwhile, it's 18 Lings to 2. Nothing really on the way, just 6 of them. And he's going to get a cancel, so both of them are going to lose the 3rd base and have to move on from there.
Railthorn's just setting his 3rd base down right now, and he's got a couple Banelings there to defend against it, but this is a lot of Zerglings, and Triple Z doesn't have much to defend as his Roach Warren just finishes.
Yeah, luckily those Spine Crawlers are paying for themselves. They're being so worth it. Between the 2 of them, they have about 8 kills, but a lot of the actions have been taking place right around them with the Zerglings picking up a little bit, and it looks like Zerg Zing Zing will just barely clean that up.
Oh, there's a
And now
couple
Railthon's-
Banelings! There's a couple Banelings in the corner of Triple Z's base that Railthorn morphed, and he doesn't see it. He sees it with his vision. Like, if we look, they're right there, and they're not doing anything. I want those Banelings to run into the mineral line right now, but it's not happening, as Triple Z's sending out a wave of Zerglings to try and deny Railthorn's 3rd base.
Yes, I was going to say, if you want to show them something else, I'll keep an eye and let you know when those Banelings are headed in. Meanwhile, Zerg Zing Zing is trying to cancel this base, but is unsuccessful. A couple good Baneling hits there. Those Banelings have not moved in the bottom left. He has just a gold mine sitting there waiting for him, and he could probably get at least a couple of drones with that, you would think.
Yes, but Triple Z's +1 armor upgrade first makes his units a little bit tougher against the Baneling hits. It'll leave the Zerglings with 1 hit point, which is always wonderful to see. Make him waste 2 Banelings on any amount of Zerglings is better than just 1. And
Yes.
Railthorn's getting a little defensive here.
Yeah, both of them adding up. Now they're both massing up into more of a roach type of play, going back and forth. And those Banelings still sitting there. Cannot believe he hasn't used them yet.
I can't believe Triple Z hasn't cleaned them up yet. He's been able to see them the whole time.
Yeah, it must be something, maybe not quite looking at that part of the mini-map, not expecting any sort of air units, and couldn't believe that something is that deep in. It's not within range, really, of any of his buildings, so the only thing would be the mini-map, but his eyes are probably just trained not to look at that part because it's not as important. Meanwhile, Railthon's moving forward with a huge roach swell. We're going to have a big roach battle here in the middle.
Well, +1 attack just finished for Triple Z, and Railthorn kind of sees it, but he's out-roached right now. As we look at the roach counter, we have 22 for Railthorn, and it's dropping while 29 are out for Triple Z, and he's just pecking away at these roaches. He's
certainly pushed him back. He pushed him back. He was on the creep so he could get that quicker surround, and it worked out very well for him. Railthon just didn't have the advantage, playing against the defender's advantage, so it was a little rough for him.
Yes, and while both these players back up to try and macro up a little bit, we might see a huge Roach Hydra force maxed out. Now, Triple Z showing his Grandmaster level, actually 30 supply, almost 30 supply above Railthon. Ugh. I just want to call him Ramathorn. Like, that's all I want to do.
Carl Ramathorn playing StarCraft. I'm not sure if he would be a Zerg player. He seems more classical, more of a classic Terran player to me.
Oh, well, we don't have Carl Ramrod here, but we do have a Hydra Den finishing up for Railthon way before Triple Z's is done. Triple Z's is only about 10 seconds off, though, so we should see a swell of Hydras coming from both players shortly.
And both these players just kind of now, after kind of an action-packed beginning, and it was really back and forth there, especially with the third base getting taken out, both of them kind of taking a more reserved stance. And right now, Triple Z's vision on the map is absolutely fantastic. If you look at it, he can see everything, even can see a good chunk of the army. Well, meanwhile, Railthon's isn't great. He's got some large chunks. He's got one Overseer, which is great for him, but besides that, lacks a lot of vision.
Well, looks like Triple Z feels like he has an advantage, and he's got about a 20 supply advantage, and with a really preemptive surround already, Triple Z's got the upgrade advantage and everything. We might just see him run over Railthon here right now.
Yeah, being up 2-1 on those upgrades really going to help, but meanwhile, Hydras are coming in, but they're misrallied, so they were not attacking right away. Zing Zing now has a disadvantage in terms of the arc, so he decides to pull back. Almost was able to push through there.
Extremely smart for Triple Z to pull back after those Hydras popped. The surround got really wonky. It was all the way around the ramp, all the way through the Miller line, and Triple Z was just losing roaches too quickly to those Hydras.
Yeah, and now he has a big roach advantage, 45-29. Now, meanwhile, 8 Hydras are about to pop as well, so he's going to be very close. You can see in the supply, maintaining about that 30 supply lead. Meanwhile, adding on his 4th at the right side is just about to pop out. Meanwhile, in case you were wondering, those 2 Railthon Banelings still just hanging out.
Those Banelings must be having a tea party, or they just like that garbage way too much. It's like, you see those couple dead Zerglings right next to him? It's like they shedded their bodies and they're just waiting. It's like a neutral player. Oh, but we have a supply block for Railthon.
Yeah. Oh, a little bit rough there. He is pretty close to max, so it doesn't matter as much as if it was a little bit earlier on. But yeah, being at a supply disadvantage, being supply blocked is not something you would like.
Oh, looks like Railthon might have an advantage in army. There's 65 workers for Triple Z and 56 for Railthon, so we might see a little bit larger army from Railthon, but the upgrades are coming. 2-2 for Triple Z, 2-1 for Railthon, and Triple Z is just going to kill him.
Oh yeah, he just mowed him down, and once you chew through the roaches, the Hydras fall so fast, and now there's nothing but Hydraless left, and you can see how far forward Triple Z was in that fight. He was confident the whole way through.
Extreme overextension from Railthon, and he's going to try and make his stand with what units he has right now, but it's just not going to be enough. Triple Z is maintaining a 20-30 supply lead on him, as poorly rallied roaches are about to suicide into this army.
Yeah, and one thing to note is just look at the creep spread, one of those differentiators between, Grandmaster and Masters. Triple Z's got all of his bases connected. They're very nice. Meanwhile, there's still actually some separation for Railthon, not able to reinforce quite as quickly, does not have that creep advantage out in front.
That's just the defender's advantage showing for the Zerg player. Triple Z being able to get that decent arc like you mentioned earlier. And actually, Triple Z's got a little bit of a line missed from
We have
his,
a roach run by on the right side by Railthon. He was only able to kill 2 drones there, so no big deal. That'll be cleaned up very quickly.
Going after workers might not be the best option right now, and looks like Railgun's just going to tap out after losing his little bit of force down in the army. So looks like IvD is going to take game one. So let's go update that score.
I think it was maybe just a little bit of frustration because he knew he was down kind of the whole time back and forth, and then right at the end there, he lost a group of 6 roaches on the right side of the map, lost a small group down towards the bottom, knew he was already behind, falling further behind, saw the fourth base was up, and just decided I don't have the tech or anything to really come back from this, and just decided to tap out.
Yeah, without that economy being on par, Triple Z just showing the little slight difference between Grandmaster and Master, and it's just a more complete game style is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, right there. And that could have just been an off game. Typically, I mean, that one was pretty decisive early on, but I mean, a lot of times you don't see that just because a lot of these guys are masters going up against grandmasters doesn't necessarily mean that they are not on the same level, only 200 spots, but the difference between the top 200 and the top 300, for example, isn't that big of a deal with such a small select group. So a lot of times you see games a little bit closer to that. Seems like it might have just been a little bit of an off game for Railthon.
Well, with that win for IvD does take the 1-0 advantage, and as we wait for 440 to select the next map and we get the next players in, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the teams who are part of our directory. Uh, I'd like to thank Carbot for letting us use their videos for our cast, and Danny Tor, I'd like to thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you. It's so good to be here. So excited to finally get the season underway.
Oh, and it's just good to be back to being able to cast games. And, well, don't really have too much to talk about right now, so how about we go to more music?
Sounds good to me.
that was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. And we have the players ready for their next game, and we're just going to go straight into it. Danny, we got a TVP.
One of my favorites as a Protoss player. I always love some Protoss, and it's actually a Masters versus IvD. Pickles is a Diamond Leaguer. One of the few Diamond Leagues that we've seen, but he was Masters just late last year, actually. I was looking at his career history beforehand, just to get an idea of where Pickles is at.
Pickles was a Master player during Season 1 for Top Dog, but we're in the game, so let's get it started. In the top right-hand corner of Yunsu Ladder Edition, in the teal trunks, we have IVD's Pickles throwing out a beautiful heart. And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player, and this might be a little Protoss bias cast because we're both Protoss players, but we got 440's Hershey. Hershey?
Hershey.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll call it Hershey because I like
And
chocolate.
IVD, Pickles is being a little fun, toying with the opponent, saying my heart is better than your heart. No big deal, as we do have a somewhat early scout from Hershey coming out. Just wants to see what that Terran player will be up to.
Oh, a 9 scouts mostly to see if there's going to be a Reaper coming in, but it looks like Pickles is not opting to grab the gas just yet. We might see it at 12, but it looks like trying to go for a little bit of a block, but that probe's going to get in regardless.
Yes, absolutely, and it looks like even Pickles is going to SCV scout. Typically now you will not see a Reaper, but maybe there goes the gas down. So I could be wrong. A lot of times some players just like to SCV scout or Reaper scout, depending. But recently you do see a little bit of, jumping in just a little bit early.
That gas is actually too late for a Reaper, because as Pickles would start mining, it'd be about 112 gas a minute, as we saw last time, and the barracks is going to be finished way too quickly. So we might see, say, a Marauder push or a heavy tech.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what exactly he wants to put down. Pickles obviously having some sort of a plan, as these players are too high level to do things just to be silly. So
Doing things all willy-nilly is something Platinum players do, and that's why I was stuck in Platinum for a few seasons. You get bored and you just decide to just carry your Switch and you lose the game. But we do have a Reaper coming out from Pickles.
Yeah, just enough gas there, Slicer. I was wondering. I thought he might have just enough, and it looks like he did right as it crossed 50. Looks like we have an SCV probe fight in the bottom left. No big deal, as Pickles does get out. Neither of these players really picking anything extremely decisive thus far.
Hershey looks like he's going for a standard play. We might see an expansion dropped immediately as that probe is just sitting there, like, waiting for the minerals. And there's the expansion. And we should see one from Pickles coming soon, but we have a reactor coming on the barracks right off the bat.
And we'll have to see, depending, if he wants to throw down another Rax, potentially we'll see some aggression, but I'm guessing, and a quick factory it looks like. We'll see how long he delays that expansion, as he is floating a little bit of money. I would expect an expansion to go down at some point here pretty quickly.
Now this is something, I'm going to go off on a limb here and say this is going to be a Reaper Hellion push-in. Because I've seen this a couple times, maybe not from Pickles, but I've seen it on several different streams. And it works. Like, for some reason it just works, but we do see a couple Marines coming out, so it might be Marine Hellion, maybe, as Pickles finally drops his expansion down, but not at his natural.
Yeah, and that Reaper's just been bouncing in and out, now has 2 probe kills. Some players get a little bit upset if you lose more than one. Looks like Pickles is going to continue to get in, but with 2 Stalkers, and he does get out A-okay.
Ooh, that Reaper is just a little bit too fast for these Stalkers. Pickles needs to put like one Stalker right there and chase the Reaper around with the other one, but it looks like he's got a little bit of rust on his gameplay, but Hershey looks like getting the Mothership Core up and getting a robotics facility. We're going to see some quick Colossus or maybe a tech fake out from Hershey here.
Yeah, and this Reaper, I thought he would dart back in, and it looks like he will. There is a Mothership Core nearby, though, so that will be shut down. I was wondering what was going to happen, but he's going to try his darndest to see if he can get a good scout off.
Ooh, we've got a little bit of lag, but it looks to be gone. That Reaper sees everything. He sees the robotics bay, and it's just going to scoot along. While that Mothership Core does have a high attack speed, the low damage is just not enough, and the Reaper gets another pro kill.
Yep. Meanwhile, Hershey was poking in with 2 Stalkers, able to get just a little bit done. Looks like about 3 kills total, but with a Widow Mine on the ramp, those Stalkers will not dare poke in.
Once that Widow Mine is spotted, those Stalkers are like, no way, man, nuh-uh, nuh-uh, not for me. But there's an Observer coming out, so it might get pecked away.
Oh, and it looks like Pickles might get another probe kill. He does, and he loses the Reaper. But honestly, if you can get 4 probe kills out of a Reaper, totally worth it.
4 probe kills and all that scouting information. And it looks like Pickles is finally going to try to take his expansion, but Hershey's had it up for a while.
Yeah, he may have just a little bit of a lead. You see the supply, not drastic here, but a lot of these Marines, because he went with just pretty much all Marines and just that 1 Widow Mine, he's going to have a lot of bruised ones, and it looks like Pickles is deciding to go for a Widow Mine drop into the main, it appears.
Well, as we follow the little pathing line, it does look like it's going straight for the main, but there is an Observer out already, and there's cannons coming up at the main, and not one at the natural, but there is one at the main, so this might be repelled rather quickly.
Yeah, it all depends on one of the small variables with Widow Mines is if he gets them burrowed, which probe do they attack, and what is that probe doing in relation to other probes? Is it stacking up with a bunch so you can get absolutely devastating hits? And he's going to go ahead and drop behind here.
Oh, if those Widow Mines hit right at the small one, it's going to be able to kill a lot. Oh, and that was a huge hit by that Widow Mine. Looks like 8 workers have been killed by Pickles. It should give him a little bit of a bump economically. As Pickles is trying to poke in.
Yeah, he was a little slow with that expansion, as you noted, but he does have 8 probe kills, so that can help him equalize that a little bit, opting to go with a little bit more of an aggressive style, and it's done pretty well thus far.
It looks like Pickles has actually landed his factory at the 3rd of Hershey here, and it's just gonna be producing a few Widow Mines out of it. And Widow Mines do one-hit both Zealots and Stalkers. Not quite Immortals, they just don't do enough damage. But it's a pretty brutal damage.
And we do have a Warp Prism wrapping around the right side of the map. Hershey on his way up. No real defenses in Pickles' main base yet. There is a couple of Marines that's kind of hanging around, may be able to help out as he's going to warp in some units there. And it looks like the rest of his army is heading home. So this probably won't do a whole lot of damage. You wouldn't expect it to, but you never know.
Hershey had an Observer in the base of Pickles for so long, and he just decided to move it, and Pickles was like, I see you. And managed to kill it, but this Warp Prism hasn't been scouted yet.
He's just going to load up these 3 Zealots, try to warp in a little bit more if he thinks he has an advantage, and right now the entire army is out in front for Pickles. Can be just a little bit rough as now that factory is going to fly in, see if he can get any additional scouting.
Looks like Hershey's going for range Colossus. Both are about halfway done. There should be 1 Colossus out on the field, and there it is. And it looks like Hershey wants to take a 3rd, but there's a Widow Mine there.
Oh, and right as Pickles moves out, now Hershey's going to go ahead and move into the main, and there is not much here for defense. If he has a big warp-in round, this could do a lot, but it looks like he's a little hesitant to go in.
It looks like Hershey wants to know where Pickles is going to be, where his army's going to be, but as these 2 medevacs boost in, that Warp Prism's already there.
And we'll see how fast Pickles, with a good reaction time, already has everything pulled, so everything's going to be a little ways out of there. And Hershey's deciding that he doesn't think he has much of an advantage here. I thought that maybe he'd warp in a bunch more, but it does not look like he's going to do that. Looks like he's just going to get out.
See, that's the hard choice when you're Protoss and harassing with a Warp Prism. You don't really know if you want to sit there and commit to try and kill all these workers when you have slow Zealots. I personally go for the Tech Labs and Reactors. I like those better.
Yeah, a lot of times I can really slow down Terran players. The add-ons are so important, especially reactors, because they take forever to build. They are a bane of Terran existence. They absolutely hate having to build more and more reactors. So looks like he didn't get a whole lot of damage done here, as I suspect these players will be taking their 3rd bases pretty shortly.
Well, it looks like we have Charge coming out from Hershey, and a Templar Archives with Psionic Storm being researched right now, and please excuse the dog if you can hear it. It's kind of annoying. But it dropped.
Yeah, and actually both players there for a little bit were actually supply blocked. And it looks like Pickle's going to go in, and he will get a cancel on the third very quickly. Gets right in and out. That's great for him. One of the advantages Terrans can, build their third in a protected location, but it doesn't look like he has done that quite yet. He may be trying to commit to a two-base attack here.
Oh, but Pickles had a little bit of an overstim on his forces. He stemmed everything, and, well, while he was dropping, he did kill the third, but that huge stem is going to render these medevacs a little bit out of energy.
And he doesn't have a whole lot of medevacs out right now. Only 3, which typically you want to see as many medevacs as is possible as Hershey sets up a proxy pylon. 2 of them, it looks like, along the left side. So it looks like he may want to get aggressive as well once this third base gets up.
You know what I just noticed? Pickles doesn't have any Vikings. He doesn't have anything to deal with these Colossus. These Colossus are just going to tear through these 38 Marines like nothing.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see that he scans in, he sees them, and he looks like he still might commit. It's a little rough, but because he has that low medevac count, it's also very difficult for him as he has a drop into the left side, trying to take out something, but doesn't get a whole lot done there.
Pickles setting up for like a 3-prong attack, like he's kind of kiting the main army of Hershey, the small force. And he looked like he wanted to poke in on the natural, but looks like he decided to back out. And once again, stemming way too many forces.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit rough for him, and that starport right now is completely idle, and it looks like he's only got 2 in each gas in the main and 2 in each gas at the natural, so his gas production just isn't quite there. Meanwhile, a Zealot run-by is going to harass this third base quite a bit.
Yeah, Pickles is picking off proxy pylons, but on the wrong side. Hershey decided to deny this third for a little bit while he gets his up and running. Let's see here. There's still no Vikings out on the field. These Colossus are going to be able to just completely tear through all of the Marines, and I think Hershey realizes it. He's moving in.
Absolutely, as he should. The starport has been idle for so long, even with the reactor, and I think Pickles knows that he's in a bind because he's going to go for a base trade scenario. Looks like he's stimming across the map, trying to get his forces there as quickly as possible, trying to take out absolutely everything, so we will do our best, but it looks like Hershey decides he's going to try to run all the way home.
Oh, that's bad news for Hershey. He knows he needs to be able to kill the economy of the Terran player with this base trade, but Pickles is stimming in a lot, and it's just going to hurt him now. He's not going to have a full health army, but we might see a little bit of a doom drop as if Hershey tries to push back out after cleaning up these small forces here.
Yeah, and Pickles, is doing his best to make those units worth it, but without medevac support, they were, it was a little rough. He didn't get a whole lot done with those, and I'm surprised to see that he didn't get more damage done, considering how far out of position the Protoss player was, and seeing as he had to run all the way back, now the Protoss player is going to push across. Hershey's saying, all right, well, I cleaned that up, now I'm definitely going to kill you.
Losing all those forces does give Pickles, puts Pickles really down on supply, only by about 10, but ooh, there's a little bit of shenanigans on the way. We have Dark Shrine coming up for Hershey.
And we'll have to see what he exactly wants to get done with that. He may not need it right now. Hershey has all the tools that you want. He's got splash damage in 2 forms with the Templar and the Colossi, and there's nothing to help Pickles deal with it as those Psy Storms rip through everything.
But we do have a Doom drop at Hershey's main base as Hershey pushes into Pickles' natural, and, well, we're back to the base trade scenario.
Man, I simply don't think this is something that Pickles can effectively win now that Hershey is committed to definitely trying to kill his base. I'm not quite sure. I don't think that he can ever fight head-to-head, which is going to be a problem.
There are just way too many Marines, not enough Marauders. But Pickles is losing buildings, losing supply. He's lifting. He's waiting as long as he can before he has to lift off his main. But there's just way too many Zealots. The Zealots should be able to take care of Pickles' whole army just by themselves.
Yeah, and there's plenty of proxy pylons spread out around the map, so it's not going to be something where he can just kill all the buildings. He's going to have to fight the army. Meanwhile, Hershey's pulling just a small group of units to try to hold on as long as he can. Pickles doing a good job taking out the economy, at least.
Pickles has crippled the economy of Hershey, and And he's only got one mining base up, as the bulk of Pickle's army is just kind of sitting at the natural, not really doing too much. But, Danny, all these Colossus are still alive.
Yeah, and the army supply is 113 to 51, and if I'm a betting man, I'm not betting on the 51. We'll have to see what he has planned. I'm not quite sure what he's going to try to do. Looks like he's going to try to establish this base in the top left, but Hershey technically has a base up and running, and he's going to have... Well, both players have a decent amount of money banked, but none of them can really do a whole lot with it. I just don't know what Pickles is really planning to do here.
Well, Pickles has lost pretty much his whole infrastructure. He's doing his best to take down what he can. He did manage to kill a Colossus that was just kind of idly sitting, must not have been hotkeyed. And, well, Pickles knows... Hershey knows where Pickles is.
Yeah, it looks like he knows where the army is at least, and it looks like he has that one in the bottom right snuffed out, but the one in the top left is still running technically, but it's going to be really tough. He's going to be up there before he's able to get any units out. He's going to pick off all those tech labs. Building 4 tech labs, I mean, I commend him for getting those out, knowing he needs marauders. But I'm just not quite sure how it's all going to shake down from here.
Well, it looks like Hershey's actually splitting up his forces, using half to defend, and using the other half to just kill this base, and Pickles can't really do anything.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. He had that plan foiled. He's got this base in the top left. He's got enough energy to land, but he doesn't really need minerals. He needs production facilities, and he can't really land anything.
Well,
Pickles has a good drop location here. He's using the pylons as kind of a wall. Oh, but so many storms going down, picking off. Oh, those medevacs, both of them full.
Both medevacs did fall to the storm. There is a Dark Shrine on the way. There's only one base that's even landed for Pickles, and he just, he had it in the wrong position, but I don't see Pickles coming back from this. I'm not sure what he's thinking.
Yeah, me neither. And Hershey, it looks like he's going to skate right by this army. Oh, and
At the Colossus!
that's actually a boost right over the Colossi. And I don't even know if he can fight those Colossi heads up.
They're on attack commands, so they're not going to go down without a fight, but 2 of them do go down pretty quickly, and that little Bioforce, I mean, that was a pretty good trade, but when you're down almost 80-90 supply, it's looking a little bleak for you.
Well, it's 5 Marauders, 6 Marines against 29 Zealots, never mind the Immortal, 2 Colossi, a Dark Templar, the 7 High Templar, so I don't think it's going to go very well at all from here on out.
I'm surprised there's no storms on this medevac to try and kill it. There are only a handful of stalkers out, but this medevac's being as annoying as possible.
Yeah, it's pretty much Pickles' only option at this point, but it seems that he is being stubborn, refusing to leave, taking a very Marine King-esque approach to this game and saying, I am not dead yet, therefore I will not leave.
You gotta remember, Terran do have mules, so they can always get back into the game whenever they feel like it.
And it looks like the coach, I believe, has left the game, or one of the managers, so they know that this game is not going to end well. I hope the player can't see that, because he is going to be very disheartened by that news.
Well, it looks like Pickles is just floating these barracks around, trying to reestablish this corner base, and doing a little bit of drop. Managed to kill a fair amount of workers. I mean, look at this workers killed tab. We got 77 killed for Hershey and 72 killed for Pickles. And Pickles is just trying everything he can.
Yeah, I mean, you got to commend him at least for trying, but this Dark Templar now raining down. He's going to try to snuff out where those barracks are at. He has to know where the 2 bases are. I don't believe that he has seen the one in the top left, but you can almost always, assume that a Terran's going to be there simply because the rocks, it's just a natural place for him.
Looks like Hershey's feeling exactly what you feel. He's going straight there even though he had not scouted it, and these barracks are just floating along. And Hershey gonna find Pickles' other base in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, now the Observer just flew over those barracks. I'm surprised he's not following that. It looks like the Orbital Command in the bottom right is going to fall to a Dark Templar. It's now burning, and that should be GG. I don't think that there is anything else. I don't even think Pickles can survive any longer.
There's only 4 barracks and 3 supply depots, and all those depots are about to die right now. And all that's left are these barracks, and he's just sending them to each corner for some reason. Oh boy.
Looks like a little bit of BM appears to be going on right now as he refuses to leave. And for a while there, he was actually keeping up about 200 APM, which I think it's just more impressive than anything, considering the little amount of buildings that he has.
Both players are over 125 APM, 125 for Hershey, and Pickles is running at 156, so both moving really, really fast with their hands, and Pickles is just trying to get kills anywhere he can.
Yep, and now Hershey's going to add on a Stargate and go ahead and, as the sentry tries to tickle this barracks to death, started it on fire, though, and that'll be good enough for him.
That sentry is the scariest thing to that flying barracks ever. I mean, it's like... oh, what's a good large or small predator to large prey? Piranha. It's like a piranha just nibbling at you.
Yeah, and it looks like Pickles now taking out the Stargate, unfortunately prolonging this game even longer. And it looks like he is going to fly absolutely into the corners.
Oh, there will only be 3 barracks left. There is no draw. I mean, Hershey still has an operational base.
Yep, and that will not happen as much as he wants it to, because if he's mining, there's no draw. I believe that doesn't mining dictate that you cannot draw in this situation?
Oh, with an operational base for Hershey, there is no draw. I mean, as much as he can try and deny that Stargate over and over and over, Hershey still has stuff going on. I mean, we can't call a draw unless both players can't really do anything.
Yep, and Hershey now has, if he gets one Phoenix out, the game will be over, which is going to be momentarily.
Oh, chrono
and
boosting
he's chrono boosting it out. I'm surprised Hershey is even leaving, as it looks like this medevac is going to try to pick it off, but it will be too late. Maybe he will get the Phoenix. This Phoenix is going to fly over 5 Marines.
Oh, but it does manage to escape with a little bit of health. It's going to start working on it, and Pickles GG's.
GG.
Looks like Pickles was actually looking for the draw, but he just couldn't pick off enough for Hershey. And, well, looks like 440 is going to take game number 2.
Yes, absolutely. After kind of a long, drawn-out game, attempting to go for the draw, a strategy you very rarely see, but it does happen on occasion.
If Pickles was able to take out all of the probes for Hershey and just managed to fly his buildings in like unattainable ranges, then there would have been called a draw, and well, we would have just went on to the next game. But Hershey still had a mining base, and he was building up another base. I mean, we can't call a draw off that.
Yeah, I believe I'm going to research that during our next musical break. I believe mining alone will not dictate a draw. So I'll look that up and I'll report back to everyone.
Alright, looks like IvD has the next map selected, so while we get that set up, please enjoy our second commercial from Carbot Animation. Thank them again for letting us use their videos, and enjoy this commercial while we set up game number 3. from the break. Having a little bit of trouble getting 440's player in. Danny, how about you talk for a little bit while we figure this out?
Yeah, you go ahead. I did look up stalemate detection because I've never actually had one. But how this works is after 3 in-game minutes, basically you have to take one of 5 actions: generating income, which clearly was happening, producing any unit, constructing a building, researching an upgrade, or destroying an enemy building. The only one I didn't know is researching an upgrade. Now the thing is, you have to research and finish it in order for it to count. But if something goes on, those 3 things don't happen for 3 minutes, the game will then end after another 3 minutes. So in that scenario, no way was that going to happen, unfortunately, for Pickles, because there was definitely income being generated and everything else can happen from there.
Alright, when the players are ready, we are starting the game, and we're going to play the intro really quick, so we'll be back in just a second. And we're back. We have 2 master players going against each other. Another PvT for our enjoyment. 440 sending out the master player Titan, and IvD sending out their master player Runecart.
Yes, and I apologize, Slicer. It seems that the Carbot video is a little bit too loud for some of the viewers in chat. They were a little surprised at the volume change there, so we'll get that hammered out for you guys. As Slicer, go ahead and introduce those players for me.
Alrighty, in the bottom left-hand corner of Frost Ladder Edition, we have 440's Titanium. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
And in the top right-hand corner, we have our Runecraft coming from IvD as the teal Protoss player. And Titanium thinking we're doing a little bit of a GSL goof with a speed, but it's not true. We have it on faster.
I was a little worried as soon as he said that. You start to kind of look at it and double guess whether it's actually happening or not. And you will have to see. It looks like everything is honky-dory for these players. That in-game timer is ticking away at faster than regular speed, which is always a good thing.
Definitely always a good thing. We don't need to restart the games if we don't have to, but so far, Frost Ellie, not exactly one of my more favorite maps, but it's actually set up quite well. They have a really easy to control natural with a nice small entrance that you can just wall up with 3 buildings. And the third, though, is a little bit more tricky. You could take the closer third that has 2 really large attack paths. One's kind of cut in the middle by a hole, or you can take the one closer to your main, which is a little bit more guarded, but there's the high ground over it. It's kind of difficult to figure out which one you really want to go to.
Yeah, I love abusing that high ground whenever possible at that closer to the main third base you mentioned. And because this map is fairly large and it is a 4-player map, a lot of times you see a little bit greedier builds coming out, but it looks like Runecart is not going to expand anything crazy early. It looks like he's just going pretty standard opening, as Titanium similarly will just go ahead and get up, and it looks like he may be getting a Reaper. Yes, there it is.
Titanium is getting a Reaper and upgrading his orbital command as standard protocol for Terran versus Protoss, but we have a double gas really quickly for Maroon cards.
2 in each, so he's got something in particular in mind.
Looks like he's going to just have just enough gas to get both Warp Gate, Mothership Core, and a Stalker all at the same time.
Yeah, it kind of depends. Sometimes on these maps, if players don't think that they'll be under pressure for a while, you'll see him skip the Mothership Core for a little while. We'll have to see if he's maybe saving up for a tech building, and oh no, Slicer, you are correct. As always, it looks like Mothership Core, Warp Gate, and Stalker. You nailed it, buddy.
This is an opening I use almost every game against Terran players, and I guess it just hasn't changed in the past couple months because I was just spot on, and that doesn't happen very often.
Give yourself a little credit. It is nice, and it looks like the Mothership Core will target down the SCV, so he will probably lose that, and unfortunately that Reaper is not going to be of too much use as now Arun Kart will go ahead and add on his expansion. So it looks like we're going to have just a little bit of downtime before anything too exciting happens.
The Stalker does clean up the scouting CV, but the Reaper's coming back in, and it's going to say, "Hey, Stalker, I'm out of here."
Yeah, psych! I do not want to go to your party because you shoot me in the face repeatedly.
Mothership Core does manage to get a few more shots off on the Reaper, but with the fast regenerating health that even makes Zerg envious, Reaper is just going to heal back up to full health.
Looks like Titanium wants to dip in again. He's not going to see a whole lot if he goes in. No real major tech buildings have gone just yet.
He is confirming that there is a natural from Arun Kart, and it's just going to make him feel all that much better because his command center is already up. And a Roblox facility just dropped from Arun Kart.
And we'll have to see if he wants to maybe sack the Reaper. Just, go ahead and jump in and see what he can find. And it looks like he'll get out again, being a little bit annoying, making sure he doesn't forget that there is a Reaper on the map.
It's definitely not the way to go about trying to get in the base, trying to stare down a Stalker and Mothership Core. And a little bit of workaround here. You will be able to get in, though.
Yep, he is going to jump in, and I'm pretty sure he will see everything that he needs. He sees the double forge going on, so that should indicate to him, okay, he's thinking long term. He wants to get some upgrades going, and he sees absolutely everything. May even get out with the Reaper to help, and he will. That Reaper.
That Reaper. Oh man, but back at Titanium's base, we do have a large amount of Marines out on the field, and with that double forge coming up, Titanium's going to go for a push.
Yes, absolutely. Adding in 2 more barracks. We'll have to see if he throws add-ons on there. He's got 2 tech labs, so he's going to be pumping out the Marauders. He's got decently early stim. That's about a little over a minute from being done. And as you said, absolutely, he will push because those 2 forges getting those early upgrades. Oh, and he's upgrading both. That is, let me do the math here, 500, 200 spent all in upgrades. And he's going to have to hope, if he can hold on, he will have definitely a huge advantage. But holding on for a little bit might be a little bit of a problem for him.
Arun Kart does have 3 sentries, and one of them can't really cast a force field right now, but he does have about 3 force fields, a little over 100 energy on one, about 80 energy on the other, and in about 10 seconds, the 3rd sentry will have enough energy for another one. So he will have some force fields, but there's just not a lot of damage output. Arun Kart's attacking like crazy. You got a Twilight Council down, got 1-1 coming out, and it looks like Titanium's going for a stem timing.
Yeah, and it definitely, and all 5 of those reactors, it looks like Arun Kart had a hallucinated Phoenix, saw 4 of them, but now with 2 reactors and 3 tech labs, he's got a combat shield finishing up as well, and he is going to push in, and this could be a little rough as Arun Kart just doesn't seem to have enough.
Titanium's
we'll see how long he can hold on.
He's pulling the SCVs. Titanium's going to try and end this right now, but if Arun Kart can hold this off, it's going to be a little rough.
And sectioning off 2 Marines, which is kind of a win right now. He needs everything he can get. As in come the SCVs, I'm a little surprised. He just wants to, I think, waste more force fields by tearing down these rocks. And this could get a little rough. We're going to see.
Those 2 force fields mean he can't block the ramp. He's got to fall back all his way and rely on this Nexus cannon, but with that stim, he's going to be able just to melt everything.
And it looks like he's tearing it all down very, very quickly. Everything is falling. Now he just needs to target down the Immortal, and the Immortal will fall. And does he have enough? It appears that he does.
Another stim.
Go ahead.
It's going to
target down the Nexus.
That Nexus is falling fast, but that Mothership Core, surprised it hasn't been killed quite yet, but that Nexus goes down, and 440's Titanium takes the victory. A very quick game with that stim timing. Those SCVs definitely helped him in that engagement, and using those 2 force fields might have cost IvD the game there.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. I think that was an all-in. It wasn't planned from the beginning. He was going to kind of go into maybe a little bit of aggression since he did have 3 racks up relatively quickly, but then saw the double forge, said, okay, I don't want to play this game. Let's party. Let's dance right now. I'm going to go ahead, pull everything. Went across the map, killed him, and you can't argue with results, Slicer.
Oh, that stem timing with SCV pull, that's very reminiscent of more Marine King or Polts.
Oh yes.
But IvD, our Season 1 champion, getting a little bit behind here, down 2-1. If they lose this next game, then the extra point will go to 440. And IvD is going to be a little bit behind in our standings.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe have gone toe to toe with another championship contender here. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how exactly the champion, shows up to this next game. These are the moments where, if you're down, you really need to get your big players in there and make sure they can really make a difference.
And while we set up this next game, let's go ahead and listen to some more music. Um, and we'll see you after the game is completely set up. That was Buggles with Video Killed the Radio Star, the original
So
version.
good.
So good. And, well, with about 2-minute delay, it's gonna be a little wonky, but we're gonna allow about 5 minutes for this. We're gonna be starting a giveaway for Dead Space 3.
Ooh, I like. I think I already have Dead Space 3, but I don't qualify to win it anyway.
Yeah, if you're part of Thunderdog, you can't really just win it. So, I mean, I'm sorry all of us at Thunderdog, but we can't win the game.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I mean, I get it.
Alright, so we're gonna set up a giveaway with about a 5-minute timer. What should we use as the keyword? How about... let's just make it Thunderdog.
Thunderdog, ho!
Alright. This is going to come a lot earlier in the chat, so in about 5 minutes from when I sent this message, so this will be about 3 minutes by the time everyone sees it. For the next 5 minutes...
Doodle-doo.
And 2 minutes into the future, as you see the chat, please type Thunderdog into our Twitch chat so you can win Dead Space 3. Great game, good co-op game. I'm never really scared of games. They're kind of boring to me, but hey, Dead Space 3. If you played 1 and 2, might as well finish out the series, right?
Yeah, and if you haven't, then might as well play a game because it's free, and who doesn't love free games? What are you, crazy?
So, at about... Actually, we're going to give it a little bit of time. We're going to actually go through this whole game, and then we'll do the roll.
So I believe they do have to type in Thunderdog into chat in order to be eligible to win. As I believe Slicer is setting up the keyword for it.
Yep.
And so you guys know, during the game, I do have a second monitor up. You can see the camera is mounted on second monitor here, and I am looking at this one here. But over in this general area, I do have the chat up, so go ahead, say hello. You know, we'll try to respond to you if you guys have anything. You'll be 2 minutes in the past, so maybe make some predictions, and I can tell you if you are correct, because you won't even know until 2 minutes later.
Alright, we're just doing a quick player check, and it looks like 440 is ready. We're waiting on IvD, and there they are. So here we go. We're going to start the game and play the intro. We'll see you in a second. And the game is starting. We have IvD sending out Roach King right now, along with 440 sending out Geeden. Now, Roach King, Danny, did you manage to look at his profile?
I did. I read up on it, and it looks like he was Masters through most of 2013, but fell into Diamond late. So it looks like it will be more of a Masters versus Diamond, and we'll have to see if he lives up to his name and is the King of Roaches.
Alright, well, we are on Polar Knights Ladder Edition, and in the bottom, well, just the bottom of the map, we have IvD's Roach King as the red Zerg player. And in the top center of the map, we have the green Zerg player, green being my favorite color, so I just like seeing it. It looks so good on Zerg. We have 440's Geeden.
And I like red and green because it's like Christmas colors, and who doesn't like Christmas?
Nobody, that's who, especially in America.
Yes, and I want all of you who are in chat right now, I want you to type right now what you think the builds are going to be, and then I'm going to be really excited because when I see them, I'll know if you're right, and I will feel special. So do it for me.
Also, don't forget, there is a giveaway going on right now. If you type just a Thunderdog, all one word, into the chat, you'll be entered to win a copy of Dead Space 3. So be sure to do that if you don't have that game, because that game will scare you.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I have not played through it myself, but I believe it was part of a Humble Bundle not too long ago, and I am a big supporter of the Humble Bundle. Got to buy those with the Bitcoin.
I may not buy them with bitcoins, but I do buy them with legitimate currency. Yuck, 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 yuck.
Ah, I see what you did there, calling it illegitimate currency.
Hey,
You old
technically,
timers and your money.
well, I guess technically Bitcoin is being recognized. Bitcoin was actually, there's a insurance company that is actually insuring Bitcoins in London. Get on that if you haven't seen that yet.
Interesting. Sounds like somebody in the insurance industry wants to make money. This year, I heard they had fantasy football insurance. If your favorite player got injured, they would basically reimburse you. So,
Hmm.
not quite sure how that was gonna work. Little bit of dubiousness going on there.
Well, in this game, there's not much dubious going on. We do have an extractor coming out from Roach King rather quickly instead of the expansion, but the expansion timings are about the same. Gainon's going to be a little bit behind right off the bat.
Yep, and it looks like Geeden now adding on that gas. So Roach King, we'll have to see. If he goes Roaches, I mean, if you lose to Roaches from a player named Roach King, can you really be upset? I mean, you really shouldn't you have seen that coming?
Well, I mean, the name kind of will throw you off sometimes, but it is a ZVZ. We are going to see those speedlings early on. I mean, I'm already calling it right now, but Gideon does have a small advantage, and that's having that queen out earlier. He's going to have a little bit better income. He's going to be able to use this first inject, unlike Roach King, who's just getting his queen up right now, and his natural is finishing. Well, both of their naturals are finishing at the same time, but Roach King does get speed faster.
And it sounds like Geeden will devour souls, has become death, and it looks like other players are even calling him the ace of 440. So Geeden getting some good love from the chat right now.
Ooh, the ace of 440. That sounds extremely lovely. Let's see if Gideon can live up to his name and give 440 the win in the series. Now, even though if 440 does win, we still play this last game. Our point system is set up to where every game counts, and you get an extra point just for winning the match. So, you want to try to go all 5 games if you can.
Yeah, I'm looking, and it appears people are trying to throw in their predictions, and thus far, Keith Wally won saying +1 armor for Roach King into Roaches. And it appears that he might be on the right track. The other people are saying 15 pool was one, 14-14 some others. So we will have to see. I don't think any of those are technically correct, except possibly +1 into Roaches.
Well, we do have the +1 armor, so that's already good right now, but it's not for Roach King, it's for Geeden, it looks. Oh, no, it's for Roach King. I got my colors backwards.
Oh, no worries.
Larva. But Roach King did do a 14-14 or 15-15, one of the two, so that was actually really close.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. I would love to see somebody call out just straight up +1 armor into Roaches. Keith Wally, I'm looking at you. You might got it.
The +1 armor is about a third of the way done with 10 lings on the way and banelings coming out, or a baneling nest coming out, but we already have banelings for Geeden. And, well, they're just being a little bit defensive, though.
Yeah, nothing too major for either of these players going on, as we do have large swells of units now. Lots of drones coming down from Geeden, really trying to boost that economy. The chat is now calling for a dinosaur roar, and we'll have to see if this game gets me in the mood. So we'll have to see. Slicer, I don't think you've been around for a dinosaur roar. It is terrifying.
Is it terrifying? Am I going to wet my pants if you roar? Like, I don't want to have to go change after this game.
I don't want to get your expectations too high, but yes.
Oh, no. Doesn't sound good for me, but Geeden, though, going straight for a lair.
It looks like he wants to get a little bit higher tech. Meanwhile, immediately scouted. Great timing there by Roach King, able to see that right as it went down, so he knows the exact timing of that.
This is a 2-base muta from Geeden. I was looking at his natural, and he has all his gas, and they've been mining for a little bit. So we're going to see a 2-base muta for Geeden. And if there's not going to be any spore crawlers, and, well, those mutas are just going to run rampant.
Uh-oh, and Roach King's coming across with a lot of lings, but meanwhile, Geeden said, oh, you want to go ahead and attack? Well, how's 3 evolution chambers to wall off my front?
Geedon's got the fake Terran wall going in. That's a complete wall off with that spine crawler sitting there, and he can always just uproot it if he really needs to get around it.
Oh, and so many Banelings now. 12, 13 Banelings coming in. Can he get the Mutas out in time? They're still a little ways off. Will it work out? We're going to turn down this wall.
Tear down this wall, Roach King said, and he's doing his best, but those Banelings are just being a little bit derpy.
Yeah, not quite enough control.
Oh!
Geedon tried. Oh, all the Banelings are just a little bit too late, as now those Zerglings are roasting Roaches in the main mineral line.
Also, I want to say, whoever called into Roaches, good call, because the Roach then just finished up for Roach King, and a huge Baneling hit cleans up what was attacking the main for Geedon. But there's just still Roaches pecking away. They might get this queen. No, they're not.
Oh, very close there, and now Geedon is down by about 8 drones, now down to 4. So it looks like if he can get enough minerals to get those Muta up, he may have a little bit of an advantage here. Meanwhile, Roach King's going to add on an infestation pit.
Roach King totally saw the Spire coming up. Spore Crawler is coming up in the main, and there should be one coming up in the natural. Spine Crawlers coming up in the natural.
Oh,
so
and no
not good.
cancel on the third of Roach King. No cancel there, so he lost all of that, those delicious minerals that he may need. Because he's got 2 spine crawlers, and Geedon may not even want to go into Mutalisk. He's got 5 building, but may not need him as he's running in here.
Roach King doesn't have anything. These units are just free to roam from Geedon. This counterattack's going to do so much damage.
Looks like he's trying to sneak some Banelings up, but he may not need to as he's looking to finish off some drones. Oh, big hits in the drone line.
Huge drone hits. And more Banelings do morph, but 2 of them explode on a very small amount of Zerglings, but 1 big hit right there. And, well, all the Banelings are done, and Geedon's doesn't really have any more attacking units, but the damage has been done. Geedon is up by almost 20 drones, and he has Mutalisk out on the field, and even with those Spore Crawlers, Roach King is really far behind economically.
Yeah, it's getting pretty rough for him as now that you can see that natural. No drones there. Not exactly what you want to see. Looks like he's trying to evolve pathogen glands knowing that these mutas are on their way. And now there's a good amount of them. I believe a dozen, now 14 for Geedon, and they're coming across the map. And I don't know exactly what Roach King plans to do to stop this.
Oh, if only we had that Carbot video with just the mutas just picking up things and whacking them on the ground. That would have been perfect. But we didn't have those for tonight. But
my favorite is that Infestor that neural parasites a Hellion and takes it ripping off the hatchery.
Ooh, huge hits with the Banelings being able to clean up pretty much all the Zerglings, and this one queen should be able to finish it as Geedon moves in with more than about double the supply of Roach King, and Roach King just says GG, and 440 takes the match. That's 3-1.
Absolutely. Great playing there. You know, what can you really say? He really defended everything. That full wall off worked pretty well. He was able to delay just long enough to make sure that he could live. As you said, those Banelings just a little bit derpy outside. If he kind of went full on in, he might have been able to do it, but pretty close match there.
All right, we're doing a quick last call for the giveaway. And we have about 10 people wanting it, so... And there we are. So while we do this last call, let's go ahead and play our last Carbot video for everybody. It should be episode 24, part 1. So we will see everybody in just a little bit to give away Dead Space 3.
You bet.
from our Carbot video. I'm a derp and a half. Been playing the same video every single time. That's that's so unfortunate.
Oh well, you know things happen. First game of the new season, Slicer. We're more just excited to have you back, buddy.
Oh, and I'm glad to be back. Casting is something I love to do, and this is like not even work for me. This is a hobby that I love.
Oh, same for me, and it is oh so good.
But all right, so we're gonna do the giveaway right now. 9 people entered. Here we go.
I was reading that as you
Ooh,
typed it in chat, and they won't see it for 2 minutes now.
it's like Dark Zen 007 is not following.
Oh, sad times for him.
We need Dark Zen to follow. And in about 1 minute, we're gonna re-roll. So if Dark Zen does not say anything, we're just gonna re-roll.
And we will just go ahead and wait around for that. Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight, Slicer. Get down.
So that last game, Danny, did you really expect all those mutas just to be there and Roaching not have a response? He saw the Spire in time. He just didn't do anything about it. He
I
put up
think
2 Spore Crawlers.
I
That's
think
it.
he was too far invested, and he just kind of looked at it and said, "You know what? I'm either gonna win on this push. I'm just gonna go all in with Ling Bane. Try to bust down that front wall." Didn't quite work out. Wasn't able to do that critical damage. Technically speaking, when he went in, I mean, if he was able to do some real critical damage, there were no mutas being created at that time, so he may have been able to hold off, but wasn't able to. The drones got back up, and then all of a sudden, 14 mutas just pretty much ended the game.
Alright, we're re-rolling right now, and it looks like... Railthon. He's gonna get it.
Ooh, Railthon. And speaking of Slicer, they said the sound is actually now off by a couple seconds, unfortunately. So we may have to restart the stream or do something about that.
The sound is off. I did turn the sound way, way down for the Carbot video because people were complaining about that. But, Railathon, there's Railathon talking in chat. Can we refresh this so that he's following?
Is he
Follow.
following? It's such a simple thing. You must follow in order to win your free games. Simple mouse click, you guys. It'll help us out a whole bunch. And then we get to give you stuff.
Well, he says he's following. But can we refresh this? Yep, he is following now. Railathon is our winner for Dead Space 3. And
Congratulations, Ramathorn.
congratulations, Ramathorn. Uh, we will get you that key ASAP. We might get it after the next game, or they can't see it. I'll just send a message to him now.
Absolutely, and eventually we will
Oops,
get on. I believe, do we have one
that
more
was
game
derp.
for them, Slicer?
Well, I just derped a little bit. Sent him a message with nothing in it.
Oh,
So,
attaboy.
yep. Let's get him that key, and while we set up the next game, let's listen to some music.
You bet. Give me something good. DJ
Something
Slicer,
good.
hit me up
Something
with them
good.
tunes.
I think Boston.
Oh, always a good choice.
All right, I hate to cut Boston off shortly, but both players are ready quickly, and we are already going into the game. So the map, as everyone may see, is Heavy Rain Ladder Edition. 440 sending out a Masters player, Vithu? Yeah, let's go with Vithu. And IvD sending out Ranchinator.
Yeah, I'm still a little upset at you, Slicer, for cutting off Boston. However, I am quick to forgive.
I really didn't want to cut off Boston, but our players were ready to go, and I didn't want to keep them waiting, and I didn't want to keep StarCraft waiting, because love esports. Oh,
Yes.
but now we're in the game on Heavy Rain Ladder Edition 440, and sending out Vithu, the yellow Terran player, in the top left-ish of the screen. And on bottom right, we have the representing the pink power for looks like his buddy Jetrixie.
Yep.
We have IVD's Ranchinator as the pink Protoss.
Yeah, it seems that we are either stuck. We either get ZVZ or PVT. Looks like that's all they got on the slate tonight there, Slicer.
Yes, I would have loved to see a PvZ. PvZ is my favorite matchup. It's so much you could do, so much that could happen, and it's just an extremely dynamic matchup. But we got a quick scout from Vithu.
Yeah, I am actually a little partial because I am a total homer. I love PvPs. So many little intricate things. I love the matchup now that it's evolved beyond 4-gating or anything. And is he going to proxy something back there? Vithu, you sneaky dog. He's got nothing in the main, and it looks like it's cheese time.
Ooh, the barracks is getting thrown down, and that probe's not going to see it. That's a lot of dead space back there. Even if a early Nexus was to come down, I don't think it'd be able to see it.
Yeah, and it definitely is going to be a proxy Reaper as he is getting gas. I don't know what other reason he would get gas for. Maybe he'll throw down a reactor. Just kidding. Of course not.
There is one more thing that might happen that's extremely, extremely unlikely. We might see a Marauder slow rush.
It could be a thing. We'll have to see, as now Ranchinator is probably going to know right. He hasn't checked behind yet. Now he probably knows. He has a very good suspicion that something is going to be up. Wouldn't be surprised if he starts a Zealot or something pretty soon. And there is that Reaper building.
Ooh, that scout coming in for Vithu. Man, I am getting people's names wrong all over the place here. But Vithu, being able to scout it out, does only see one gas, no really extreme shenanigans, but this Reaper's going to come out before the Stalker, and there's only going to be a Zealot.
Yeah, depending on the micro, and it looks like he now chrono boosts the Zealot. He is very worried about it. It looks like we may even have an engineering bay block. Vithu patrolling back and forth as now this Reaper is idle for just a bit, and it looks like he's actually going to land the barracks there.
This Reaper's going in and already being annoying. It's going to be able to take out the Zealot as long as Vithu does a little bit of control, and Vithu's going to delay this expansion for as long as possible. Looks like Ranchinator went into extreme panic mode, throwing down a second gas, just starting his mothership core, and a Stalker does pop out to be able to ward away this Reaper, but the Zealot might still go down.
Oh, he's chasing after. I was going to say, I was really wondering why he was chasing after him for so long. That Marine may be able to cap it off, but the Marine doesn't.
He got it!
Oh, barely.
50 mils for 100 minerals, a really good win for Vithu right now. Unfortunately, that Marine was a little derpy, so, it did manage to kill the Zealot, and that's what counts.
Yep, and it looks like, and he spots the proxy factory on the left side. That's huge. Kills the SCV, so that's going to go down. Vithu being a little bit too cheesy, perhaps, is now Ranchinator throwing up a proxy pylon, and he's going to try to punish him for this.
Vithu did actually go back in with that Reaper and managed to pick off 2 more probes. And that barracks, well, it's just going to sit there and be annoying. And without that Zealot's high DPS, that's going to take forever to kill, especially when only one Stalker was killing it. But now both are. And we have a proxy Stargate from Ranchinator. Ooh, I just got chills.
And it looks like he's going to throw down 2 more gates behind it. So a rather cheesy game here back and forth a little bit. Not sure if Ranchinator planned that or just did it in response. But yes, this barracks, I assume he's just going to get it to start burning and then go across the map if he would like. Or maybe he'll just sit there and kill it the whole time, as he may not quite ready to move out. But we'll have to see. I'm guessing it's going to be an Oracle out of this Stargate.
Well, I think Ranchinator's mindset right now is to make it look like that he's not going to put on any aggression by going all the way and trying to kill the barracks. That way it makes Vithus seem a little bit safer. He's already got his expansion almost completely done. It's finishing just right now, and an Oracle's coming out of the Stargate, and there's proxy pylons everywhere. We're going to see a lot of pressure from Ranchinator.
Yeah, and this is going to be really tough because Vithu right now, I believe, only has 5 Marines, yes, and that's going to be really tough to defend both the front and the back with this. He can only defend one location, as now the Oracle can technically be spotted, but it's coming in, and where does he defend?
Oh, he pulled a good amount of SCVs to try and repair the bunker, and with this Oracle's will be able to take out a few of those Marines too if he bothers, but there are Widow Mines out on the field now, and this Oracle is getting repelled. And as Ranchinator comes in, he might lose a few units.
It looks like he's going to try to pick off the bunker, and he won't quite get it. Lost a sentry in the process, a little painful.
Oh, that sentry's got a huge loss. He actually tried to force field the Widow Mine so he could snipe it, but it still managed to burrow. And now Ranchinator's just going to poke away at these supply depots.
It looks like he's going to try to get something done while he's over here.
We have a genius Void Ray. With this proxy Stargate starting to pump out Void Rays. This is definitely a genius play right here. If he really wanted to, he could probably throw down another couple gateways, but he's got Stargate and 3 warp gates out, and using the Oracle's Envision, I believe it is. Yep, Envision, to be able to snipe out those Widow Mines, and that Widow Mine almost in range of that Void Ray, but that Void Ray is going to take out the supply depot. That supply depot was extremely important. Vithu cannot make any more units right now.
Yeah, it's really tough for him because his economy is a little bit stifled just because of all the pressure that's been putting on, and Ranchinator got a second Oracle to make sure he could have enough vision, or possibly even go back in and harass with more probes, because right now there's not a whole lot that he can do. Those SCVs could go down. It looks like he did use that Revelation again. It looks like he's going to pop up. Ranchinator's running in to so many Widow Mines.
2 big Widow Mine hits, only killing 2 Stalkers though. Those Marines not focusing down the weak ones, and these Void Ray and a couple Oracles are going to start doing a lot more damage, and Marines aren't going to be able to hold this off. He's going to need to pull everything, but there is a Banshee out on the field.
Yeah, but that Banshee can't really do much. That Void Ray is going to be one of the most important units now surrounding, but there's just not any more anti-air here, so unless he gets pulled into Widow Mine...
Oh, the Widow Mine head goes off on an Oracle! That Void Ray is fully charged. He can pretty much kill whatever it wants right now. There's only 2 SCVs and now only 2 Widow Mines out on the field, and the Hellions just went down.
Yep, and it's now 14 workers, and he's got 2 Widow Mines, but those aren't going to do much. And right now, the income absolutely 0 for Vithu. Not sure what he's going to try to do, as Ranchinator's content just to take down supply depots, and GG.
There it is. Ranchinator sticking with a standard play, responding cheese against cheese, and he managed to pull it out. That early Proxy Reaper just put Vithu a little bit behind. He lost the supply depots to the Void Ray and the Stalkers, and those Widow Mines just weren't enough to hold it off. And Ranchinator gives that extra needed point to IvD. So that was all 5 of our games for tonight.
Boy, and it was nice to be here. It took just under 2 hours, so a good amount of time. That's a nice healthy chunk to really get your StarCraft in for the day. It's a beautiful thing to be here and be able to cast with you, Slicer, as part of Thunderdog Esports. So happy to be a part of this top dog league.
Yes, it is wonderful to be back casting again. I'm a little rusty, I can hear myself, but week 2 is going to be absolutely beautiful.
We put in plenty of time during the week for you guys to make sure we are at our best. So best thing you can do for us is just show up, have a good time, and we'll be here every week. It will be just fantastic. We're going to have a whole bunch of fun, especially as we start to see some of these players possibly more than once. So we start commenting on things we saw earlier in the season.
Yep, and make sure everyone turn in to week 2, week 3, week 4, all the weeks. And there's actually a playoff for season 2. How exciting is that?
Ooh,
Oh,
it's going to
I'm
be
ready.
good.
I'm so ready for it. But it looks like 440 showing their strength as a newcomer, managing to beat Season 1's victor, IvD. And, well, 440 will get 4 points for the victory, the 3 wins, plus the 1 extra point for the win. IvD will only be able to clinch the 2 points, but Ranch Nader getting that much needed point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to be able to get that last one. Would have been really devastating to go down even further than that. So did what they had to do, came in, and looks like 440 got the best of them today. But it's a long season ahead.
But I think that will be all for us tonight. Danny, it was a pleasure casting with you.
Oh, the
As
pleasure is all
always.
mine, Mr. Slicer.
Audience, thank you for tuning in. I see we were hovering around 50 viewers. Thank you, everybody, for coming to support Thunderdog Esports. And I hope to see you all next week. And, Danny, any last words? Do you have a Twitter
I
that they could follow, or...?
Oh, always at Danny Reedy. That's DANNYREADY at Twitter. But of course, always find me here on Tuesdays here with Thunderdog doing the Top Dog tournament.
My Twitter is JAS_Slicer. You can always contact me there. You can always get a hold of me on the forums. And, well, if you know how to get a hold of me on Skype, then you're probably special. But that's all for us tonight at Thunderdog Esports. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you again to Carbot Animations for letting us use their video. Unfortunately, I goofed a little bit on the video and you only had one, but we'll fix it for next week. For everyone here at Thunderdog Esports, thank